You're welcome to the Facebook Live for today. It's a really special Facebook Live because my guest today is a survivor. He was hijacked over 10 years ago off the coast of Somalia, and he spent 1,000 days on the high seas, forgotten by his shipping company because he was a seaman, a mariner, forgotten by his country, forgotten by his family. How did he survive? What went through his mind from day 1 till day 1,000 when he was rescued? My guest is Jewel Ahiable. He's written a book called Hijacked for 1,000 days. It's available at all good bookstores. And tonight, Easter Monday, I get to chat with him about his experience as a hijackee. Did he ever think that he would be rescued? Did he know where his help was going to come from? How did he hold himself together? Is he worried or traumatized about going to sea again? Did he ever get compensation from the company who sent him out to work on the high seas? Lots of questions to be answered, and I am pretty sure that you also have questions of yours to pose my guest Jewel Ahiable, who is a survivor having spent 1,000 days on the high seas. He would be joining me shortly on this Facebook Live, and we'll have a conversation on his experience. I had the pleasure of speaking to him a couple of years back at Star FM, and the story was no less gripping. Years after that, he was able to put all his experiences into a book. He wrote a book on the time he spent at sea, and the interesting thing is that exactly 1,000 days after being held captive, he was rescued, and he thinks it was all part of some divine plan. So that conversation is what we'll be having in a short while with Jewel Ahiable, who is a survivor of a hijacking that lasted over 2 years. It lasted 1,000 days, and he's one of the few survivors of hijacks, one of the longest surviving hijack victims. And we'll be having a chat with him in a very short while. He'll be joining the Facebook Live, and then you shall hear his story. So for all of you who are joining, you're all very much welcome. Nanama Adobia, good to have you on the Facebook Live. Very soon we'll be joined by Jewel Ahiable, who will be telling us his story of how he survived this hijacking attempt. What was he doing on the high seas? What was the backstory? How did it affect his life? What happened to his family members from whom he was cut off for over 2 years? How did he keep his spirits alive? What was he eating? Did the pirates take them on some of their hunting expeditions? Because these pirates are basically robbers on the high seas. And what happened to the ship? Were they ever compensated? So many questions that need to be answered. And hopefully you get to hear from my guest himself, Jewel Ahiable, who will share his story of capture, survival, and eventual rescue from the hands of pirates who, as you may well know, are prepared to kill for money, and they ask for ransoms. How was that whole affair handled? What was the responsibility of the Ghana government? How was he able to keep in contact with his family members? So many questions that are answered. How did it affect his relationships with people who were far away in Ghana? Did he ever lose hope that he would ever be rescued? Did he ever think that this was going to be his fate, to die far away from home on the high seas in strange, unfamiliar waters from the waters that he was so familiar with? It's a story that is captivating. It's well worthy of being turned into a movie. And pretty soon I shall have Jewel on the Facebook Live so that he can share his story, which I've heard already, but it's still so captivating that I thought it would be a good idea to share it with you, considering that today is 11 years and 1 week since he was rescued from the hands of Somali pirates. And thank you all of you who are. Pretty soon Jewel will be with us and we'll have this conversation about his experience of being hijacked and spending 1,000 days at sea in the hands of people who were basically willing to do anything for money. And so in a short while, we're thinking the power of technology. I have Jewel Ahiable on the line right now. Jewel, good evening and happy Easter to you.
Good evening, my brother Kafui. Thanks, many happy returns.
It's so fantastic to have you on. Let's go straight into the story. In a couple of minutes, just tell us who you are and what led you to join this ship that was doomed to be hijacked so many years ago.
Yes, good evening to viewers and listeners. My name is Jewel Ahiable. You can call me Mr. Hijack. I'm a marine electrical engineer by profession. I graduated from the Regional Maritime Academy then in 2003. And I decided to embark on working on board a ship. Throughout about the 10 years of my sea experience, I can say that I've enjoyed only 1 year of a good working environment. So in 2009, I returned to Ghana and then to again look for another company. Actually, I came on leave so that I'll be going back to join the company in Dubai. But because the salary was not good, I decided that no, I want to look for a different company. So instead of a 1.5 months leave, I requested for 2 months. So I came and out of that, trying to get a job, it landed me into a different company, which actually sent me into captivity. So I would say I'm the first of 6 siblings born to Mr. and Mrs. Ahiable, all from Angloga and Agate, respectively, in the Volta region. I went to St. Mary's Seminary Secondary School in the Volta region. So basically, I had all my basic education in the Volta region before I proceeded to the Regional Maritime Academy. I'm married with a son, and that's it so far.
Okay, so tell us what happened. When did you know that on the high seas your ship was in trouble? When did you have an inkling as to something wrong that was happening, unfolding? Give us some dates and times. Yes.
It's as if it's a coincidence. Today is exactly 11 years, 1 week, which our ship was hijacked. It all happened on the 29th of March 2010. So last Monday was 11 years, and it actually coincided with the actual day in which our ship was hijacked. In actual fact, we had no prior information or idea that our ship was going to be hijacked. Because I tell you, if we had a prior information, some of my colleagues who joined the ship on the 28th wouldn't have joined the ship. And those of us on board would have disembarked before the hijack took place. So we had no information. In the early hours of 29th of March 2010, around 7:30 a.m., I got into my officer's mess to take my breakfast in my boiler suit in the company of the chief engineer and then the chief officer when the alarm sounded. And that began the turnaround of a new state of our life. We climbed to the next level of the ship, and then we realized that bullets started hitting the ship from one side. So quickly, to be safe, I decided to run into the galley, that is the kitchen on board the ship, which was about 4 plates before if bullet could penetrate.
Yes. I'm listening. So we're going to try and bring back Jewel. And he was just telling us about his story of what exactly happened on the 29th of March 2010 when his ship was attacked by pirates. And he was telling us about how he escaped into the galley, which is the kitchen on board, and felt that he was safe. This attack was happening where? Where exactly?
We left the port of Aden in Yemen en route to Dubai. So it happened at the coast of Aden. We were not far from leaving the port of Aden in Yemen. So we just took our route when this thing happened. So we were actually, the pirate crossed from, the Horn of Africa. They crossed from the other side and came all the way after Yemen. And that was where we were taken.
How far on the high seas were you from land when your ship was attacked?
I can't be very specific, but I believe we were about 1,000 nautical miles away from land.
So you could not see any land anywhere when they attacked you?
At the point of attack, you could see very far away the land.
Okay. How many of these criminals attacked your ship? How many were there?
8 of them. 8 of them attacked our ship.
What kind of boat were they using?
Oh, they were using these fiber boats with, I believe, with about 2 horsepower engines.
So not very fast.
Very fast.
Oh, very fast.
Very
okay.
So this horsepower, one engine is about 120 horsepower. So the other is also 120 horsepower. So 2 coupled together.
Quite fast.
Speed is so. Yeah.
What kind of weapons were they holding, and what was their nationality? Just looking at them, where do you think they came from?
Yeah, looking at them, we knew they came from Somalia, and 8 of these, there was very young guy among them, about 17 years, and then they were wielding some broken RPG.
Rocket propelled guns, RPG.
Yes, rocket propelled grenade.
Grenades.
And then yes, and then some broken AK-47 with pistols. So I think they were having about 4 weapons. Did
they look like they were under the influence of anything, alcohol, drugs? Did they sound very clear and lucid, or they sounded high?
At that point, with that critical moment, it's very difficult to observe the demeanor of the pirate or whatever. But along the journey, we realized that these people consume a drug called cat, which actually is a stimulant which does not allow them to sleep for days. So probably they were also under that influence.
Okay, so they board your ship, and what did they do? How many people are on your ship? These are eight young men. How many were on your ship? When they boarded the ship, what did they do?
Surprisingly, we were 24 crew on board the ship. And then these men boarded our ship around 7:45 a.m. on that said day, 29th of March. So when they came on board the ship, they took control of the bridge. And then after that, they have taken control of the bridge. That means they have full control. So they sent our bosun, one of our colleagues, to come and call the crew to come to the bridge. So he came and shouted, "Hey, come out, colleagues, come out, come out. Pirates have hijacked the ship." Indeed, to emerge out of that hideout was a difficult situation. So we came out, and as we walked through the mess room, about to climb to the next level, then we saw one of them wielding the AK-47. And then he started saying, "Put your hands on your head, put your hands on your head." So all of us, we put our hands on our head and we climbed to the captain's bridge. When we got there, some of our colleagues were already sitting down, and then we joined them. There were others who were at the wielding gun at the entrance of the captain's bridge. So we got there and they asked us to sit down. We sat down until all our colleagues came.
Okay, all 24 of you. In case you just joined us, I'm speaking with Jewel Ahiable. He survived a hijack attempt. He spent 1,000 days on the high seas and hijacked by Somali pirates. He lived to tell the story. He's written a book called Hijacked. Look for it in all good bookstores. And today is exactly 11 years and 1 week to the day that he was hijacked with his colleagues on board this ship. So now they have taken control of the ship. What next? What are their demands? What did they want from you guys?
Yeah, I'll say at the time of hijack, unknowing to us, the crew, there was a machine gun and an AK-47 on board the ship, which were in the possession of the chief engineer. So when we all ran out of the mess room to check, he went for it, unknowing to any of us. He went and then shot one at the direction of the pirate, and out of fear left it and then went to a hideout. Trust me, I believe if we had gotten hold of just one gun, the pirate wouldn't have been able to come on board the ship. So after they have told us that yes, our ship was hijacked, they told us that all they needed was money, and that our owner will give them money and they will let us go. So we should go back to our various duties, and that they will not do us anything. They actually calm our fears so that we will not react to them in any way. So they said we should go back to our various duties, and when we get to Somalia, they will let our owner pay them some small money, and then they will let us go. That was
how much was the small money they wanted? How much money did they want?
At that moment, there was no amount mentioned until we
find
got to
out,
Somalia.
Did you? So the ship was turned around and taken to Somalia. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So when you got to Somalia, were you allowed to go ashore, or you were floating off the coast of Somalia?
We anchored in Somalia, far from the land. When we arrived, there were other ships that were hijacked. So
it's a complete business. It's like a garage with parked cars.
Exactly, it's a complete business.
I see.
Yes.
And so
we got,
you got to Somalia, and then what happened? This was
indeed that day a helicopter came. They were trying to communicate with our captain, but the pirates wouldn't allow. Then in the evening, there came a naval vessel, or these big warships, and we thought they were coming to rescue us, but they also didn't do anything. They only asked whether we needed help or not. And you find it amazing that you are under siege, you are under gunfire, and those who are supposed to defend you come to ask you whether you needed their help. It's like you've been under armed robbery attack, and Ghana police coming to ask you, oh, do you need our help?
Very politely.
Exactly. So the pirates said, no, go away 20 nautical miles, and they obliged and they escorted us as if we were the president, and they took us to Somalia. They make sure we anchored. After that, they departed. So when we got to Somalia, a lot of pirates came on board. Amidst jubilation, they slaughtered sheep. There was so much joy. And after that, they asked all of us to leave our various cabins. And then we were put in one common room. All of us with our bed, on our pillows alone. That is all. So they searched us very well, took monies, even boxer shorts they took from us. All our valuable items, they took them from us.
You're not wearing underwear again?
Oh, apart from what we were wearing, they took those that were standby.
Wow. Serious anti-pay, as we say in school. And so what happened? I mean, what was the next? Did they hurt any of your colleagues?
At that moment, no one was hurt, but along the way, a lot were hurt. If we talk about hurt, we're talking about physical hurt.
Physical, yes. Was anybody wounded, killed?
Yeah, at that moment, no one was hurt. When we arrived, now they brought in a man they called the pirate surveyor to come and assess the cargo and the ship to see how much ransom. So he pegged the ransom at $10 million. $10
million. What was on the ship? What was your cargo?
We were carrying generators, big generators belonging to Agrico. So we were transporting them, and then empty chemical containers which are used in oil refineries, we're transporting them from Yemen to Dubai. So those were generators, transformers, and then these cargoes, that's what we're carrying.
$10 million. Who did they make the request to? Who did they ask? Who did they send an invoice for this money, if you would put it?
Well, they communicated this to our owner who lives in Dubai, and then they were actually seeking that he was going to pay that money. Unfortunately, he didn't respond to their demand.
What's the name of your owner? Are you at liberty to reveal the identity of the owner?
Oh, yes. My owner is Yasser Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Yasser
Okay.
Ali.
So he refused to pay the 10 million. What happened to you?
So they were trying to negotiate with him. Mind you, the pirate don't speak English. So anytime, at any point in time, we need to have a negotiator on board, somebody who can speak English between us, the crew, and then that negotiator, and then he will also speak on behalf of the pirates, whoever is negotiating from outside. So this gentleman communicated this to the owner, and whilst he was not responding, the pirates tried to put pressure on the captain and the chief engineer to actually force him to respond, but still he wasn't responding. We were there and then on the 15th of May 2010, as the norm of the pirate is, any ship that is hijacked will be forced to go and hijack another ship.
So they took you on an operation. They took you on an operation on the high seas.
Oh yes, we went on an operation because we have to actually move the ship, and then we prepared for that hijack. So as I stand, in fact, we went on 2 expeditions to hijack ship on 2 occasions. So I have the real expertise to hijack ship.
What kind of work experience is this? Were they successful? Did they hijack? Were they able to get those 2 ships on those 2 expeditions?
Unfortunately, on these 2 expeditions, we couldn't hijack a ship because we encountered the naval vessel, who again escorted us back to our former position without taking any action. So the question is, what actually are they doing on the sea?
Do you feel that the naval authorities and the hijackers had some kind of collaboration?
Well, unsolicited and unconfirmed reports from the pirate told us that they actually aid them in hijack, in the sense that at a point they can tell you that, okay, our naval vessel is not going to be in this particular area of the ocean.
Okay.
So you can go there, and when you are successful, you are successful. But when you are hijacked, you are hijacked. When the Navy capture you, they capture you. And they also told us that when they take the booty, they do share with the Navy. As to that, I cannot confirm that anyway.
Okay. Let's talk about your personal experience. At some point, did you believe that you were going to be on the ship for as long as the 1,000 days that you actually stayed on this ship?
Never in a moment have I believed that even my ship, I was going to fall a victim of piracy. So as you spoke about my book, if you read, you will understand how I felt that day. I described that day as the darkest day of my life. In fact, I wish I had not existed. So there wasn't a moment in which I thought I was going to spend more than a month on board the ship. No way. There wasn't a moment.
Were you able to contact your family when you were hijacked?
The day we were hijacked, the pirates gave phone to only few to speak to their families or to the agents. But unfortunately, our agent didn't communicate to my family what had happened to us. So it was when we went on the first hijack expedition, which was unsuccessful, and we were returning, that was in May, towards the ending of May 2010, then I pleaded with one of the hijackers on board the ship to give me the phone to speak with my family. And at that time, I called my brother Michael, who couldn't answer. So I called Cosmos, who is another good brother to me. And then he said, hey, Jewel, where have you been? That long time, about 3 months, we've been calling you. Where have you been? And I said, didn't you hear what happened to us? He said, no, what happened? I said, pirates have hijacked our ship. What do you mean? I said, yes, pirates, they have hijacked our ship. So now we are under pirates. We have been taken to Somalia, so and so. It was then Michael, which Michael called me, and I gave him the information that this was what happened, so he should communicate with my family. I then asked him if he had not heard from the agent. He said no, and I was amazed because all informations were given to the agent to be given to our family. So I asked him to find out from agent if he is actually aware of this. There was a very different confrontation between the agent and my brother. So,
was the Ghana government aware that you were a Ghanaian citizen? And just confirm, were you the only Ghanaian citizen on that ship?
No, I wasn't the only Ghanaian citizen. In actual fact, we were 6 different nationalities. We had Yemen's, Pakistan, Sudan, India, Ghana. I think we are 6 now. We're 6, so we're 4 Ghanaian on board the ship.
Did the government of Ghana know what had happened to you?
Yes, my family has done so much well by relaying this information to the Ghana government, and the government was very much aware of what had happened to us. And at a point in time, towards the ending of 2010, we had a secret phone. That was after the death of our colleague. We had a secret phone, which we were having communication with the media, especially City FM, a person from City FM, who gave us a contact of a foreign affairs member in Ghana here. And we were speaking, giving him vital information about what was happening unto us. So government was fully aware. And I have a parliamentary report with me here, which it was captured on in that report. So government was fully aware.
You said one of your colleagues died. How did he die?
My brother, we went through a very difficult moment as captives. It was really painful, all that we went through. And trying to recapture or recall all those moments sometimes bring tears to my eyes. It was in the same 2010, after the first expedition, that they wasn't getting solution to the ransom. So there came a man from land who said he heard of our predicament on the radio. Therefore, he had come to help us. And his idea was to bring doctors to come and remove our heart and kidney and sell in place of the ransom. That generated a lot of fear on board the ship as to whether they were actually going to carry out their intention or not. But the mere fact of hearing this alone traumatizes us. So at that moment also, he told this colleague who died that they will be taking him to land and then chop him in pieces. So he became afraid, and a lot of things happened. And on the 27th of October 2010, this man, as a Muslim, went to their praying room. After a while, he left the praying room and then went to unknown destination. The next thing, we found him in the sea, and a lot of things happened. And then we have to put him in a normal deep freezer on board the ship from that October until February 2011. So the dead body was with us on board the ship. And you know, UN also got waves of all this information, and then at a point they decided in February to come for the dead body. But then the pirates wouldn't agree. When they departed, the commander of the pirates who was on land came on board the ship and ordered the body to be thrown into the sea. So the body was taken out of the deep freezer and thrown into the sea.
Did he commit suicide? Can you confirm that? Was
no,
he killed?
He hadn't committed any suicide. But for me, I cannot say emphatically that he was killed, because at the time in which our colleagues saw him, they spoke. And he told him that, hold on whilst I call colleague to come and rescue you. And this, our colleague said, no, don't call pirates. But unfortunately, when he was going with I was among the people going to rescue him, we saw this speedboat, the fiber boat passing. So we beckoned if you could assist us. So before we got there, they already put our colleague inside the speedboat with the intention of bringing him to the aft, that is the back of the ship, so that we use the crane or winch to bring him on board. I went back to the workshop. At that time, mind you, I had no slippers, so I was putting pieces of carpet together to make slippers for myself. When my colleague came and called me that our officer was dead. How? He spoke to our colleague. He was clung to the anchor chain. Half the body was in seawater, but the upper was not in seawater, so he wasn't drowned. So how could he die? So you could draw your own conclusion.
Terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. May he rest in peace. In case you just joined us, this is a Facebook Live with Jewel Ahiable. He survived 1,000 days of captivity on the high seas as a victim of a hijacking. He's written a book on it, Hijacked for 1,000 days. And the book is available in all good bookstores. Today is exactly 11 years and 1 week since the hijack occurred, 2010 and March 29th. And he's just recounting his story. Jewel, apart from this person who died, what kind of torture, what kind of mental anguish did you experience on this ship? I mean, for example, the first Christmas passes by. I mean, the 2010 Christmas, you are still on the ship. What's going through your mind? How are you surviving? How are you eating?
My brother, amazing that we were captured a week to Easter, or yes, a week to Easter, and were released in December, which we celebrate Christmas. We went through a whole lot of mental torture. A day with pirates is not an easy thing. For all these 2 years, 9 months, that is 1,000 days, we were sleeping under gunpoint. They were always on us with guns. When we are going to the washroom, a gunman will follow us. And if you spend more than 3 minutes, they'll begin to bang the door with the butt of the gun. We went through a whole lot. When we actually returned from the first unsuccessful attempted hijack, we ran short of provisions in terms of water and then food. So the pirates began supplying some dirty rice. It looks so dirty and blackish, and then with flour. And this flour, for 1,000 days, they prepared the flour mixed with seawater on a hot plate in form of how pancake is being prepared. And that's what we take in the morning, and in the evening we either eat this rice cooked with seawater. That's if we don't have fresh water, but most of the time our rice was cooked with seawater. And if you have been to the sea before, can you taste the sea water? That's the kind of rice that was cooked. Only plain rice, mind you, not with fish, not with stew, plain rice cooked with seawater. Then this refugee
beans. You ate this for 1,000 days. You ate this for 1,000 days.
We ate this for 1,000 days. Almost every day of our life, we ate this chapati. It's called chapati. And then there was this refugee beans that was cooked for us. And so in terms of food, yes, that's what we were eating. Then along the way, when fresh water ran out, the pirates took control over the little that was remaining. So we had to put gallon and air-conditioned water. Our air condition was running then, so we put gallon under that air-conditioned water.
You're drinking AC water.
Exactly. And I tell you, that was the sweetest water, apart from rainwater. That was the sweetest water we had drank in captivity. Even along the
clothes? For clothes, what were you? I mean, for showering, were you bathing? What kind of clothes were you wearing? Personal hygiene. What was the story?
We already have water to drink, so I didn't think of bathing. It was once in a while you get some seawater to bath.
How long is that once in a while? Every week, every month?
So sometimes it depends on how aggressive the pirates are. When they become a little bit flexible, then you may have an opportunity to bath. But a minimum of 1 week, then we will bath. Washing of clothes. Washing of clothes. now they have taken away our clothes, so few that we have. So when you go to bath, you wash it and come and dry it in our sleeping area, or you dry it somewhere else. That was what was happening. So we were bathing seawater.
How did
And
you keep your mind away from the ordeal? How did you keep sane? Because this can easily make you go crazy. Did you have people who had problems with adjusting and then they probably just lost it? Because 1,000 days?
Well, in all, I can say that the word of God was my consolation. At that point, I became so religious. I was fasting and praying alongside with one of my colleagues called Asari. And as I read the word of God, my consolation were in the scriptures that I had, that there was a hope for us one day.
You were allowed to keep your Bible? You kept your Bible?
Yes, I kept my Bible, and I even brought it. It's here with me. The
parents have a look at it. Is it close to you?
It's not close to me, but I can get it.
All right, when we're wrapping up, I'll just give you some time to go and find it. So we were reading your Bible. I saw a picture of you with hair like, I don't know, John the Baptist. Obviously, there will be no time for you to cut your hair or do your fingernails or whatever. This is captivity. I mean, looking at yourself, just growing wild. What was going through your mind?
Indeed, there was actually time for us to cut our hair. But so if you look through all the pictures, all my colleagues carved their hairs. But for me, along the way, I was almost giving up. That is after 1 year. And I remember the last time I cut my hair was on the 25th of June, 2011. I remember that day very well. That was the last time I cut my hair, because as at that time, it looked as if there was no going to be any light at the end of the tunnel, because there wasn't anything happening. It doesn't show that we were going to be rescued, we were going to be released. So as I was reading the Bible, Samuel the prophet was my focal point, which I was trying to, if I will die, I want to die with that long beard, with like Samuel the prophet. So that was how I kept my beard. In fact, along the way, I became a threat to the pirate. I was warned on several occasions by the commander, because I always work with all the pirates, even the commander. He knows me very well. So he asked me to shave my beard and my hair, but life doesn't make sense to me at that moment again. Therefore, because we were suffering and death also rejected us. So if they could kill me, I'm ready to die than going to shave my hair. So I refused to shave my hair and my beard. And I said, if by the grace of God, I get to my homeland, I'll shave my hair the following day. And indeed, that was what I did.
And I know that on the day of your rescue, I mean, when you finally got to see your family, your mother did not even recognize you because of the crazy hair and beard that you had. She didn't recognize you. Is that correct?
That's very true. And it always ran tears down my eyes, because when we actually arrived at the arrival hall at the Kutuka International Airport, I saw my mother walking out of the exit, and I was calling her, "Mommy, mommy." She couldn't recognize me. I raised my hand. She couldn't recognize me. So I told my colleague, Asari, oh, my mom couldn't recognize me. So we had to walk to the exit, and there I raised my hand, because there were a lot of my colleagues, families, loved ones there waiting. So I raised my hand and I said, "Mommy, this is Jewel." And that was when everybody rushed towards me and embraced me.
Let's take it back. So you were hijacked on the 29th of March, 2010, just before Easter. You spent another Easter. So your first Easter, you were as a captive. You spent a second Easter in 2011 as a captive. You spent a third Easter, 2012, in captivity. You spent, so you spent 2 Christmases, 3 Easters.
Exactly.
In captivity. How are you recording? Because you have a vivid retelling of the story in your book. How were you putting down the story? Were you recording it? Were you writing it? What were you writing it on?
Yeah, before I answer that question, I want to take you back a little bit. When you asked about the kind of torture we went through, I want to let you know that my colleagues were beaten mercilessly. Some were beaten until their tooth got broken. Some got their eye lashed. Some were suffocated. and then they collapsed until they put bullet in their nose to resuscitate them.
Wow.
There were times they would put us at the hot sun and say your last prayers. We're going to kill you, and then they'll begin to shoot over our heads. And personally, I went through a lot of moments, and it amazes me how I got out of it. And I see the hand of God. And my chief engineer suffered so much. We all suffered, but I must admit that my chief engineer suffered so much. How he was beaten mercilessly in front of us, to the point that they used kitchen knife to split his 2 ears. He was isolated from us for over a year. He was not giving food. At a point, he became weak. They have to carry him and dry him in the sun. And a whole lot of torture, which I could not mention because of time. But if you could ask your question again.
How did you record the story? Because it's so vivid.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Anytime I leave this country, I try to document my roots. So again, when I left this country on that day, amazingly, I left Ghana on the 29th of September 2009. My ship was hijacked 29th again. So when I left, I documented, and I don't know, as if I was the officer on board a ship, and I was keeping, if you look into my diary, some of which I have not written in my book, all the voyages, all the countries that we went through, I kept them. And for everything that happened to us, I was just keeping all these informations. I don't know. I was just writing, not having the mind that I was going to actually write a book, but with the mind that I will actually tell the world all the things that we go through, according to time, according to who we speak to, and everything. So that is how I had all the informations documented in my diary. And when my diary got full, I have to make another book for myself. And that is how I recorded all my informations.
Let me just suggest that later on, you can actually print the entire diary out, word for word. That's another book on its own, because that would be just something interesting. If you just joined us, this is a Facebook Live with Jewel Ahiable, survivor of a 1,000-day epic experience on the high seas, captured by Somali pirates, 2010. It's 11 years ago, and he's just telling us exactly how the story unfolded. And we're now coming to the rescue. How were you rescued?
My brother, we were forsaken and abandoned by the world. There was no sign for us that we were going to be alive anymore. Indeed, after the death of my colleague, one of my colleagues, the chief officer, is missing until date. The most difficult moment of our captivity came in when our ship went aground. Our ship sank to half. Again, we lived in that ship more than 1.5 years. So we were there. There was no sign that no negotiation was going on, total silence. And trust me, my colleagues come to ask me, Jewel, when are we going to get out of this? As if they knew that I have the solution. But I kept encouraging them that very soon we'll get out of it. Surprisingly, on the 1st of December 2012, I wrote a letter to God, which was a prayer supplication on behalf of the crew, which I captured in my book as well. And then in that prayer, I pleaded to God, if He wills, He should grant that by Christmas, we should join our families. And on the 10th of December, began our rescue. We were actually not let go free, but we went through a 13 days of fighting, day and night.
Who was fighting you? Who was fighting you?
On the 10th of December, when I got on my knees around 5:30 a.m. to pray, then the bullets started penetrating the bridge. So some of my colleagues ran towards my direction as if the bullet was not going to, they covered themselves with blanket as if the bullet will not penetrate. So that began it. And then the pirates were trying to exchange fire. And with that day, for us, the agony of death was past. We were all taken back to where we were kept first when we arrived in Somalia. So that day, there was fierce battle, land, sea, and air. When I say land, sea, and there was helicopter, then there were 2 boats at the port and the starboard side, and then soldiers on the coast, because the ship sank close to land. They were all bombarding our ship. And if you could see the picture, you can see that. And then with that, for us, we were ready for anything. If death, let it come, because we were tired. But amazingly, it didn't end that day. It lasted for 13 good days. Unknowing to us, who were the people coming to rescue us? It was after we were rescued on the 23rd of December. That was when we got to know the people that came to rescue us.
Who were they?
It was not the Ghana Navy. It was not the UK force. It was not the NATO. It was not the Indian Navy. But again, God used the people of Somalia, the Puntland Maritime Police Force. They were the people who organized to come and rescue us. The people that the world speak against, with all the sophisticated weapons that the others have, they never came to our rescue. And these were the people that came to our rescue.
13 days, and then finally, what happens? How do you get off this ship, which is now half sunk in the water?
On the
Did anybody die, by the way? With the gunfire, did any of the pirates die?
None of the pirates died, but one of the soldiers, the rescuers, died.
Oh, so
the
sorry.
pirate shot one of them, yeah. But none of the pirates died. None of the crew also died. Just some minor injuries, about 3 people sustained. So on the 22nd of December, again, we prayed and said, God grant us a Passover. And then in the afternoon, the pirates came and told us that they were going to let us go free without ransom. And then those who were shooting from outside, we also let them go free without arresting them. So because there was no way the pirates could win the battle, they agreed to that. They agreed on that. And then those 2 colleagues of ours who sustained a bullet injury were actually taken off board on that 22nd December in the evening. Then on the 23rd December, which was a Sunday, the rescuers came with a speedboat, came and count the number of crew. And then after that, there were 9 pirates on board at the time of rescue. So they offered them speedboats and put them in, and then they let them go free. Then by 1 p.m., we were also evacuated by speedboats to land.
Okay, so what's your journey? What's your journey from Ghana? So you got to land in Somalia. Then what was how did you get to Ghana?
Yeah, so we were rescued on my birthday. I must admit that I'm a Sunday born, and we were rescued on the very day I was born, 23rd December. And when we got to land, that was when we got to know that it was the Puntland Maritime Police Force that came to our rescue, and we were grateful to them and to God. And from there, we were flown by helicopter to their military base in Il, in Somalia. We spent 3 days there. Then we went in a very long military convoy to Garowe, where we were given a hotel, which we spent. And then for the first time, we began watching TV. Mind you, for all these 2 years, 9 months, 1,000 days, some of us, we never stepped foot on land. So we spent another 3 days in Garowe. Then they said the president of Bosaso wants to meet us. So we again drove in a very long convoy and went to Bosaso to meet the president. After that, the following day, some of my colleagues began leaving. India came with a special flight to take their citizens. Indian and Pakistan was taken away. Yemen also came with a flight to take their people away, and it was left with Ghana, Sudan, and then Philippines. We were left.
Ghana government didn't come for you guys?
No.
How did you leave Somalia?
Well, at a point, Mohammed Farole, which was the president's son and the commander-in-chief of the army, told us that if our government will not come for us, they'll find money to repatriate us back home. But surprisingly, on the 30th of December 2012, UNODC sent a plane to come and pick us, the remaining, to Kenya. And then we spent the night in Kenya. And on the 31st of December, we came by Kenya Airways to Ghana.
Did the Ghana High Commissioner in Kenya meet you?
No, he didn't meet us. We met somebody from the commissioner's office on the day of arrival. And I must tell you that when we requested that we want to speak to our families, he declined. he declined giving us phone to speak to our families. And he told us also that wherever you are going to be taken to now is just a night. Whatever sleep and whatever they give you, eat. The best thing is that you are out and you are going home. So already we begin to feel who we are as Ghanaian before we even got to Ghana. So he told us the following day he was going to give us a phone to call our families. But surprisingly, when we went to the IOM guest house in Kenya, and then the security man gave us phone to speak to our families. And that was when our families got to know that we were going to arrive the following day. So we spoke to them. And then when the man came to pick us to the airport that day, we requested that he give us phone to speak. He said no, he will not give us phone. I actually forgot his name. There was a gentleman and a lady. So so he declined giving us phone to speak to our families. We spoke to him. He said no, he will not give us. We are going home. Why do we want to call our families again? It's not necessary.
Very insensitive man. So the plane gets to Ghana. Give us a sense of the welcoming committee when you got to Ghana. What did you do when you stepped out of the plane?
When I stepped out of the plane, when we walk on, and before I entered the arrival hall, the building, I knelt down to thank God Almighty for bringing me back to my homeland, Ghana. And as at that time, you know how my beard and my hair was, so I was being looked at by everyone.
I'll post that picture when we are done. I'll post that picture with your permission.
So my passport, my traveling document, most of us, our passport have expired. So they have to prepare emergency travel document for us. So we got to the airport, we went through a lot of procedures before we were actually allowed to go out. So it was when I came and I met my family. Indeed, it was, we arrived in Ghana on 31st of December. And the people who came to meet us were our families and loved ones. And then there were representatives from the City FM who came to meet us. Apart from them, there was no other official person who came to meet us except IOM, who actually took charge. And then after that, we were taken to immigration. We were questioned. Some were saying we were doing stowaway and whatever. We were questioned, or we were interrogated, and our families were making noise because they were keeping us for so long before they released us. And then we were taken to IOM office in Jewel. And then we got our clothes changed. And then from there, our families put pressure, and then they took us back to our various homes. On that day, I knew that families and loved ones were going to meet us. So I was a little bit tense, though it was joy. I was tensed how I was going to meet the people who were going to be at the airport. So that was how it was.
Can you remember the first thing your mother said when she finally recognized you? What did she do?
My mother was only weeping.
She was weeping?
Yes. My mother wept. My father came and fell on me. My siblings, everybody was shouting. It was like a commotion there. People, friends who had even came from Tamale all the way to come and meet us at the airport. That was how people show love to us.
What did you lose from this experience?
What did I lose?
Yes.
I lost many things, but I count it unto the Lord. Indeed, there was this lady which I should have actually married, but out of this, she went ahead to marry. You find the full story in my book. I lost many years as I intended and planned for myself what to do. All these years had gone down into the drain. Indeed, I lost everything except my life. I lost everything except my life. So now I have to start from square one. I lost everything except my life, my family. That's all.
Are you bitter?
No, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all, because I've come to understand that God has a purpose for everything that happened. And believe me, if I had not gone into this, the world wouldn't have heard about this story, a detailed story, a detailed account of what happened unto us. Though I might have said that, yes, I have lost certain things, but I believe that I have gained a lot, at least. I've come out with a book for generations to see, and that book shall bring glory unto God. All other things that are gone, they are gone, but I am not bitter. I'm thankful to God for everything, because he has a plan and a purpose for everything that happened. So it is with my life.
I'm just curious. The lady who couldn't wait, have you set eyes on her since you returned?
Oh yes, she's been my friend. Amazingly, I was in Ghana before she got married. I lost her contacts. I don't have any other information about her. I dropped emails. I dropped my numbers on her Facebook handle, but she never came. After 1 year, when she resetted her password, before she got to know that Jewel is back in the country. That was how the story.
A couple of questions from people who are watching. So Adam Kuma Kaiti says, since you went through this ordeal, have you embarked on such a voyage again?
No,
have you been on the high seas again since?
I haven't, except a sea trip I went. I haven't actually embarked on a journey to work. I actually planned to sail to work on board a ship for 10 years of my life, and 10 years got expired in 2012, 2013. So, and for the 10 years of my life, I have suffered a lot. And going through this experience, it only took divine intervention for me to be alive. Since I've not been able to tell all the things that I went through, except in my book that you can get them, I lost the zeal, the enthusiasm to work on board the ship again. So I would say Somali pirates have retired me prematurely from going to sea.
Adam also wants to know, what safety precautions do you think you will observe if you find yourself in a similar situation? But as you said, you don't think you're going to travel, work on board any ships again. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not going to work on board any ship again, but with my experience, I have learned a lot, and I have captured a lot of safety precautions in my book. And I tell you, it is very vital.
Walter wants to know, have you received any compensation whatsoever from any quarter?
Yeah, I must admit that we receive compensation in terms of our lost item. That is how it was captured, because insurance hasn't paid us. There were a lot of issues about insurance. Our salaries have not been paid. So this ITF, in collaboration with PM something, they came up with our agreement, there is a compensation for lost items. That is the things that they are taking away for us. So they come out with a certain amount which they paid us. That's all we receive.
How much money are you owed by your employers?
I'm owed, when I calculated, I think it's over about $25,000.
Have you been in contact with them? Nashika wants to know.
Yes, I have been in contact with them. I spoke to the owner of the company when we were released, and he wasn't having time. He wasn't listening to anybody. Apparently, that was the situation with all my colleagues. He wasn't giving a listening ears. And at the government also, at that time, Foreign Affairs Ministry was in, were they in Flagstaff? They were, I think, in the Flagstaff House or wherever. They invited us, and we gave them a vivid account of whatever happened to us, even a copy of our contract we gave to them. And then they said they were going to follow up on everything, see what they can do to us. But until today, they had never responded.
Do you feel the Ghana government is interested in helping you fight your cause?
Never. Ghana government is not interested.
How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel as a Ghanaian?
As a Ghanaian, just take it that your destiny is in your own hands. Anything that happens to you, government is not interested in helping you. They are interested in their own affairs. Because if actually they've been interested, they would have actually make an effort, but no effort was made towards helping any of us. I must admit. My brother, see, even counseling, going through these difficult moments, it's IOM who organized counseling for us, and we could not complete the counseling. Some of my colleagues could not even go because they were not having money for transportation. Again, we became burden onto our families who were transporting us, sponsoring us to go, family and friends. We did not have money for counseling, for mental counseling. That is how we are as a country.
How do you think this experience has affected you psychologically, and as well as your friends as well?
Well, first I thought coming out of captivity, I'll become a very wicked person because of the things that we went through. One, we were planning in collaboration with the Yemenis to come and take a revenge. If we shall go to any extent to get biological weapon to destroy Somalia, we were going to do that before. But since we didn't rescue ourselves, God came in to rescue us. I'm telling you this, it's only a fool that doesn't change his mind. So I changed my mind. This experience have made me have more love for humanity than ever. And this experience actually, I don't know how to put it. I'll leave it there.
I'm really grateful that you've taken given us the opportunity of sharing what is a very traumatic and painful experience. So I really thank you. Walter wants to know what you do now and what are your plans.
Well, in 2014, 2015, I went back to Maritime University to pursue my first degree in electrical electronic engineering, which I graduated in 2016.
Congratulations.
Since then, I've been trying to look for a job. I haven't gotten a job. So is some of my colleagues. There hadn't been any job. So, but in 2013 December, a foreign company, Holiday Finch, contacted me that I should give them, I was like a consultant to give them an information about the ship. So I did that, and through that, I had a job with them. So I was representing them in Ghana, and I worked for them until 2016 when I graduated. And after that, the job also ended. So since then, I actually put in a lot to get my book out, and still continue on job search and I went to do clothing business, but after launching my book, I dropped that also. And I may say from that up till now, I set up a foundation, Hijacked 1,000 Days Foundation, which is there. And I must say that from the time I launched my book, the book was doing well until Corona struck. And there were some movie deals coming on board, but it couldn't hold because Corona came in. So since then, I've not been doing anything per se.
How valuable is the support from your family, your wife and your family?
Very valuable. There is no one else that can give me that support like my families are giving unto me.
I want you to just take some time just to show us that Bible you were talking about and show us a copy of your book and any items from your hijacking, if they are close to you, Do you have them there?
Just give me a minute.
Yes, I'll give you a minute. Yes, I'll just summarize what we've been talking about. So I've been chatting with Jewel Ahiable. He spent 1,000 days on the high seas. He was a victim of a hijacking. These pirates attacked his ship on the 29th of March, 2010, and he was in captivity until, it's just crazy, 2012, 23rd December. He spent 2 years and 9 months, 1,000 days. Yes, count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000 days on the high seas as a victim of hijackers. There were about 24. One of them died. They were brutalized and tortured mentally, physically. He went through a lot. He's captured everything in his book. The book is out in all good bookshops. It's called Hijacked. And you can find him on Facebook, Hijacked for 1,000 days. You can find him on Instagram, Hijacked for 1,000 days. He speaks on his experience at various functions. I know he does a lot of work with the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship. And I'm just giving him some time to come and show me a few items from his hijacking that he wants to show us as we round up this event. And I've seen a lot of questions from you. I will pose as many of those questions as I can to Jewel before we wrap up this very revealing interviews. One thing that made me sad was how he said, well, you're not expecting anything from the Ghana government, and you just want to consider yourself as being on your own. So Jewel, while you are organizing yourself, a couple of questions have come in. It's been more than 10 years since your experience with your career experience. Do you think, based on technological and possibly military advancements, has the situation of curbing piracy improved? Do you think piracy, I'm sure you follow it because you were intimately involved. Do you think it's going down?
Yes, we can say that in Somalia, piracy has gone down, but it has moved to the Gulf of Guinea.
Oh, closer to home.
Closer to home. So if we talk about the Indian Ocean, Somali pirates, it has gone down drastically. I don't remember the last time Somali pirates have gone to hijack a ship, but right now it is closer to us right here.
And of course, these pirates will not be Somalis. They will probably be West Africans, Ghanaians, Nigerians, whoever.
Nigerians mostly.
Okay. Nasika wants to know, have you faced any stigmatization from your friends and family since you returned to Ghana?
No, my families and friends have been so lovely, so supportive financially and in any way. In fact, people even who use their car to take me for tours so that I can get away these, they were buying me clothes, they were buying me food, they actually kept me. So there wasn't any stigmatization at all. Okay. They have been very helpful.
Albert Figbedo wants to know whether there was a role of agents in your employment. How did you get involved? How did you get on this ship? Was it an agent who got you on the ship?
Yes, it was an agent. It was a Ghanaian agent who got me on board this ship. Indeed, my first contract, I hadn't got agent. I went on my own, but this time there was an agent who was involved. And as I indicated, the agent was asked to speak to my family, but they never spoke to my family. Mm. The role of the agent, that's all that they did is something else to talk about. And all are captured vividly in my book.
In your book. There's a question, where can we get the book? Adam is asking, Adam Kuma, where can the book be found?
You can find the book at Airport Shell. You can find them at Kingdom Books and Stationery, EPP Books. It's on Amazon and as well.
Beautiful.
If you go to Ho, there is a bookshop near Ho Technical University. And if you need an autographed copy, we can organize and you get it from me as well.
Please give, is there a number you can give out for people to get in touch with you for speaking engagements, for the autographed copies, anything?
Yes, you can contact me on 020-959-0018.
Okay, we'll do it with the international code, +233 20.
Okay. Plus 233.
Thank you.
20 959 0018.
Again, please.
Plus 233 20 959 0018.
Thank you very much. MC Chris wants to know, what has the government done to help for such issues not to happen again? I think I know the answer to that. Nothing, right? I can answer that question.
Nothing. I answered that.
Even I can answer that question. Chinedu wants to know where he can get the book in Cape Coast. He tried meeting you in Accra, but was not. It wasn't possible. Senior Smoba, I think he's a former school colleague. Where can we get the book in Cape Coast?
If there is EPP or Kingdom Books, you can get it there.
In Cape Coast. Okay,
otherwise,
awesome.
You can equally arrange with me.
Yes, you can call that number and then they can get it done for you. Okay, so a couple of questions and then you show me the items from your hijack. Walter wants to know, has your story been aired on any of the television stations?
Yes, my story was aired prior to my book launch. City TV carried the story, and then Joy Prime also carried it briefly. Indeed, most of the people are not making time to actually carry the story. So Joy Prime carried it briefly. And then radio stations actually also carried it. Kafi Day interviewed me back some years ago on
That's correct.
Star FM. Yeah, it
correct.
was one of the best interviews.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Akusia Mensapa says, you're so strong. Thanks for sharing your story. Thank God for his mercy. Did you feel strong when you were in captivity?
I felt it was the strength that carried me this far. The strength for not giving up actually carried me this far. So yes, I felt strong, but I feel stronger now.
Awesome. Yep. Show me the items that you had with you.
Unfortunately, I'll keep the Bible away from you.
Okay.
That you find it one day in my museum.
One time.
But, yes, I made slippers for myself. These are a pair of slippers.
Let's see that. Show them to my camera. Wow. Turn it around for me. Let me see. What did you make them from?
From carpet and life jacket. This for life jacket. And then these are carpet put together.
Wow.
So the slippers
are obviously you use a knife or a razor to cut it.
Yes, I use a knife.
Okay.
And then I have to shorts for myself. This was the short I sold for myself.
You sold some shorts for yourself?
Yes.
What is the material made from?
It's made out from curtain, window curtain.
I see. So your curtains became your shorts?
Yes, please.
And your carpets became your shoes?
Slippers.
You say the slippers was made from carpet and what?
Carpet and glue.
And glue. Wow.
The belt of life jacket.
Okay.
And then glue.
Yes. And glue. Okay. Yes. What else did you make, man?
This also was one of my clothes that I wore in captivity. These shorts, also took me through captivity. Indeed, wow. I was having some few dollars, and this was where I was hiding it. I cut the waist, and I was hiding it in my waist. I put it in a plastic bag, and I put it in my waist. So always my money is on me. But unfortunately, on the last day of hijack, somebody has stolen the money. The money I kept for.
Oh, wicked people! How much was the money, man? How much was that money?
I can't even recollect. The joy of I think it's over $200.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and this was the calendar I made for myself to keep myself update.
Oh, you made a calendar?
Yeah, I made a calendar.
Wow.
Yeah, I made a calendar for myself.
You know what? I'm not a psychologist, but I think these are the things that kept you sane.
Well, I may say so.
Yeah.
I may say. Yeah.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have known how many days had gone by. Everything would have just been one long time of captivity.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is my diary. One of them. I'll keep the second one away.
Ah, let's see the first one. So this is where you are writing everything.
This was why I was writing everything.
Did you ever run out of ink?
No, because the captain's bridge have a lot of pens, so we were having a lot of pens around. It's the book that ran out of which I have to make for myself. You can see.
Yes.
The day I left Ghana.
Yes.
And then all these information. So
these
you
are
can see
these are priceless. These are priceless documents. You know.
Yes. Yes.
You need to put them in a safe. You need to put them in a bank safe.
Yes. And when I came back also, my hair and my beard, I haven't thrown them away after shaving it.
Let's see your hair, man. Let's see your hair.
So I don't know why I take delight in keeping.
No. This is evidence. This is evidence. You've done a great thing. This is capturing artifacts for history. You know.
So
this is your hair.
This is my hair and my beard. You can see a strand of it is too long.
Yes.
So,
wow.
This cost a lot of dollars, millions of dollars.
Yes, that's a lot. Ebo wants to know: have you swam again, or have you ever visited the beach or the ports ever since your rescue?
In fact, there are other valuable documents which are in my secret place.
By all means,
yes.
And they should remain there.
Yeah. Yes, I visited the.
Yes.
I visited the beach. I even swam.
Okay.
When I came, because those are some of the things that took away the memory. My brothers would take me to the beach, and friends would go to the beach, we'll go and play football. So I visited the beach. I'm not scared of going to the beach. When Lagos 2 came, I was on board, shared my story. I had fantastic friends. So yeah.
One of your colleagues who was your hijack mate came to your book launch. Are you in touch with them, and what's their story?
Indeed, 2 of them came to the book launch. Their story is all something else. Let me talk about Asari. They've all been actually trying to look for job. They've all been trying to make an end meet to take care of their families. Indeed, I am the youngest among all of us. So all their effort to get a job is futile. So they are home struggling. Asari had a job and went on sea. They went to Cameroon last year, and whilst they were returning, Nigeria pirate again hijacked their ship.
Oh Lord!
Yes, Nigeria pirate hijacked their ship, but God took him out. How did God take him out? He said he closed his duty 4 a.m. He was sleeping, and then he heard bang, the knock at his door. So they broke the door and they came and said, "Come out, come up." They took him to before he got there. All his colleagues were sitting down. They asked of the rank, blah blah blah. They asked. Then they took him and one cadet to go to the storeroom, and they asked them to pack the foodstuffs. They packed them into bags, and before they came, they had taken 5 of their colleagues into the boat on the sea already. So they asked them to drop the food, and they dropped the food. And after that, they asked them that the 2 of them should remain on board the ship and take care of the ship. That was how Asari escaped.
Wow. So the risk is real. As you said earlier, now the pirates are operating off the Gulf of Guinea.
Yeah. Francis is also home trying to look for something to do. He has relocated to somewhere in the bush in Swedru. Prince is also in Peki. So things are, Prince has taken to a different lifestyle. And I tell you, we are supposed to be some dangerous people in the society because of the wickedness we endured. But I would say by the grace of God, God has actually poured cold water on our hearts, and we are trying to look up to God to make way for us. So everybody is home. Everybody is struggling. That is the situation. Everybody is struggling.
As we wrap up this chat, Jewel, I'm so grateful you've shared your story of how you survived 1,000 days of captivity on the high seas. And by the grace of God, you survived to tell the story. And you've put it in a book that's available for anybody who wants to read. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be turned into a movie, because this is a story that can only be seen visually for people to really know the impact of it. Is there anything else you want to say that's on your heart that you haven't said before about this experience that you would like to say as we wrap up today?
There is not much to be said, but as I always say, all things happen to the glory of God. And if I had died, I don't think this story would have come out today. You might search everywhere. There is no one who is carrying this story like I am doing. And I've come out with this book with detailed information. If I had died, it wouldn't have come out. And Kafi, have you seen the movie How We Live as Captive before? I hope you saw it during my book launch. So I have a movie of how we live as captive, and my book has given you an images from those movies, how we live as captive, the dead body which was kept in the deep freezer, all those things. So my consolation is only in the work of God, in the word of God. And I know that God has a plan for me, and whatever he wants to do in my life shall definitely come into accomplishment. I always look out that I will have an opportunity to bring all seafarers together to come and share our experiences of what we envisage, because the Bible says what those who goes to sea see the wonders of God. So Kafu, if you've not gone to sea, you've not seen much of the wonders of God, and we want to tell you the wonders that we see. Hearing it and seeing it are different things, but then I'm just thankful to God. And again, let me be thankful, show my appreciation to the Puntland Maritime Police Force for taking that bold step to come and rescue us. Besides all the sophisticated weapons that the international community was having, they never came. Even they were even running commentary that what they were doing was against human rights. This human rights thing, I don't know. My brother, last 3 weeks I wept. I wept because I read a story of one of my colleagues that were also on another ship in captivity, and I captured those names in my book, and how the pirate shot one of them. And it was sad. I wept that evening uncontrollably, because human rights will tell you that Somali pirates don't kill. But I would love to ask them, keeping us for 1,000 days, was it better than killing us? I don't have much to say, but I'm just thankful to God for the great things that he's doing. And I pray that it doesn't mean that if I've gone through this, somebody will go through this. I want to encourage you, if you want to go to sea, go to sea. My experience is to set as an example for you to keep things in order, to take the necessary precaution, to ask God before you embark on any journey of your life. Never take anything that somebody went through that it is going to happen to you, but those are examples unto you that you will not fall victim of it. So just keep your hope high and keep your trust in God.
I want to end with you telling me what is the most beautiful thing you've seen at sea. You said earlier that in the Bible it says, hey, you go to sea and you see beautiful things. What's the most beautiful thing you've seen in your life as a seafarer on the high seas?
The most beautiful thing I saw on sea was how do I call it? Should I differentiate the terrible and the beautiful? Well, when I saw the sea was so calm and you feel like walking on it. It was so beautiful. The sea was so calm and the dolphins were moving. It was just beautiful. And one of the other beautiful things I saw was when in captivity, the waves, the ship could tilt our ship, and then you can see the power of the wind. The power of the wind. Our ship is so high, but the sea water can go over our ship. And a whole lot of things that we witness. It's beautiful, though it's a horrible scene, but I'll call it beautiful.
It is. It's the power of God.
Yes.
And it worked through your life for a miraculous escape. It's almost like Daniel out of the lion's den, but this one out of the belly of the ocean. It's almost like Daniel and Jonah put together. A wonderful story, Jewel.
Yeah.
And you are indeed a jewel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I wish you all the very best with the book, with your talks, with your life in the future. Take care of yourself and stay strong.
Thank you, my brother Kafui. And I thank everyone who came to follow this and listen to us, and those who are even yet to watch and view it. God bless you. And I thank you most especially, Kafui, for giving me an opportunity to again tell the great things that God has done. It cannot be concealed, no matter how hard the world try. This cannot be concealed. I thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you. That's the story of Jewel Ahiable. He survived 1,000 days in captivity on the high seas. He's written the captivating, enthralling book, Hijacked. And that's the copy of the book, Hijacked. It's in all good bookshops. Get a copy, read the story, and share it. You can follow him on Facebook, Hijacked for 1,000 days. On Instagram, Hijacked for 1,000 days. My name is Kafui Day.
Hijacked for 1,000 days. On YouTube,
Yes,
1,000 days.
On YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, it's one. Hijacked for 1,000 days. Good night and God bless. Thank you very much.